For almost a century, the Autodromo Nazionale Monza has stood proud in beautiful Italy. It's a true cathedral of speed, and no doubt we will be seeing some of the highest speeds we will all season. Despite being 99 years old, the track has barely changed in this Grand Prix layout, with the only major changes coming from the reprofiling of a few turns, a couple chicanes here and there, and of course the fearsome oval being decommissioned. It's a track that has a lot of history behind it, and we're ready to make more memories as the Dallara Formula IR Series comes to Italy for the first time all season for round number 9. Hello and welcome one and all to Friday Night Prime Time here on RaceSpotTV. I'm Miller Rempel with Ryan Walker beside me in the commentary box and Connor Maddock downstairs in the producer's chair. Now Ryan, this is one heck of a track, I think it's safe to say. 21 cars are getting set to run through the field, so a higher field count than we've been seeing in the last couple weeks. No doubt we'll be in for some excitement today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see this car at such a great track as well. That is Monza, and it's got a bit of history about it as well. It's been around for, what you mentioned, it's been around for a long time with various series, and tonight the Dallara will be racing around here, and I think it should be a great race, but I think passing could be a bit difficult when you've got so many long straights and the pack being so close. But I think, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these guys get on.
The biggest question is going to be the first couple of chicanes. Of course, they are an incredibly treacherous part of the track in a full field of cars on lap 1 with cold tires. That, I think, is going to be one of the biggest talking points throughout the course of the day. Expect that replay ticker to come on up maybe once or twice here in the opening laps. We're looking at Tim Dallara right now, who's just throwing his way through the parabolic in the final corner on his second lap. A 1:19.565 was his first lap. Does he improve on that time? He does by about a tenth of a second. It's a 1:19.464, and Tim Dallara has provisional pole by over half a second.
Yeah, it absolutely does. As looking at the number 5 car of Marco Sanfilippo as well, and yeah, he's one of those drivers. So it's always been quick in his car, but sometimes he just seems to have bad luck. But at the moment, it looks to be a decent lap he's on at the moment as he's heading down the back straight and heading down to the final corner, and it'll be interesting to see where he puts his car on the grid.
Very interesting indeed as we continue to watch Marco Sanfilippo throw his way across the corners, across the line. It's a 1:20.129. That's good enough for third place. It's about 1/10 behind Greg Olson, throwing his way up now to the first chicane. Very deep on the brakes and really flirts with the AstroTurf on the left side of the racetrack there. We were talking about before the broadcast as well with how twitchy these cars can be under braking, especially in these hard straights. It's going to be a real challenge for these drivers to make sure that they don't go flying up into some of the other guys' cars. Let's ride on board here with Omar Baja as he throws his way up through the Ascari chicane.
Yep, heading up through Ascari now, and this is such a difficult part of the track to get right because you're trying to get back in the power, but you don't want to turn too much as well, otherwise you get a bit twitchy. But heading down the back straight now, heading to Curva Parabolica, and it's one of my favourite corners on the track just because you can carry so much speed depending on what car it is, and just but you also have to be smooth as well as Baja heads up to the line, and it looks like it's going to be a 1:21.107, and that puts him 11th on the, actually 10th on the grid.
It is such a critical passing spot as well, the Parabolica, because you have to get it absolutely perfect to get the best run you can all the way down the front straightaway into the first chicane, where, the course, the best passing opportunity is. Now we watch Dylan Freckleton as he's now coming up to that Ascari chicane. Now, Ascari is one of the most difficult corner complexes you can find in the world of motorsports. It is so fine. The slightest foot offline is going to send you screaming off and into a barrier somewhere. It's difficult enough going through their single file, let alone trying to pass there.
Yeah, it is, and as Dylan Freckleton is coming around the final corner now on the exit of the Parabolica and is heading up to the line now, and it's going to be a 1:21.569, and that'll put him round about the middle of the grid up into 14th.
Still has one lap to go. The question is, does he have enough time really to get that done? He's got to nail this lap here. He's got about 1 minute and 9 seconds remaining to get that second lap in. There was a 1:21.569, good enough for 14th. He is one of the drivers that's going to be starting on the soft tires. It is important to note that there is about, I want to say about 5 more cars running softs than there are on the mediums for today, but it is still a pretty even split all throughout the grid. And I think it's also kind of worth noting as well that Tim Dallara, the driver that's on pole, he was on the mediums.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. So you might see some drivers go in the mediums and try and go for a sort of long run and just basically try and stay out the pits as long as possible. And then you'll see other drivers maybe try and go on the softs and maybe just try and be as quick as possible in the early stages of the race and maybe try and gain some track position. And then when it comes to the pit stops, they can just stick on another set of softs and just go as quick as possible again up until the end of the race.
Over 300 kilometers an hour down to Parabolico. 10 seconds on the clock. Does he have enough time to get that second lap? And he does, but just, and does improve. A 1:20.704 is going to put him up into the top 10 just at the drop of the checker flag. Well, with qualifying complete, let's run down through the starting grid. It's going to be Tim Delisle started on pole position. Tomas Simone starting beside him on the front row. 4/10 back, the only two drivers to set 1:19s. Greg Olsen sits in third for Australia. Right next to him, Manuel Domingo. Marcos Sanfilippo starts in fifth at his home track with Steve Honan just beside him. Philip Schiff in seventh. Danilo Sanfilippo, the other Italian, down in eighth. Ruben Denker and Dylan Freckleton round out the top 10. Rashad Craig sits 11th. Omar Baja in 12th. Jagger Uberslack in 12th. Dennis Scholing in, Oberslack in 13th. Dennis Scholing in 14th. Cal Young in 15th with Adam Cohn in 16th. Anthony Katz 17th. Pablo Suarez 18th. Aaron Roofs in 19th. And two cars not setting times. Those are Tom Bazine and Radek Sakura round out 20th and 21st. And these are two drivers that we can expect to maybe see working up through the field tonight. Just waiting for the final few cars now to grid on up before we go racing for tonight's 35-lap race.
Yeah, it should be a great race as well, and hopefully these drivers into turn 1 and turn 2 don't do anything too silly, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a bottleneck effect and we might see some minor incidents. But overall, Nolan, I'm looking forward to this race, and yeah, hopefully Tim Delisle, after his disaster of a race at Road Atlanta, hopefully he can redeem himself.
Just about everybody has gridded up. It looks like we are, disregard that, we have gotten just about everybody lined up in the field now. I believe we're just waiting on one driver, and it's the driver that's starting next to Dylan Freckleton, which I believe is going to be not quite Rashad Craig. I think it's Ruben Denker that we're waiting on in the number 10 car at the moment. So just waiting for the final few seconds. I believe he has missed the start though, and we will be about to set off on our, well, bit of a half-pace lap here before we go green.
Yep, and yeah, a driver that was having issues or technical issues in qualifying was Thomas Zen as well. He's pretty much, he didn't get a chance to set a lap time, so he's starting at the back of the grid with Radek Sakura as well. So hopefully those guys might be able to get through the field as the race goes on. But around Monza, it's a bit of a tall order.
Well, with the field now rounding through Ascari down the straightaway before the Parabolica, your final thoughts here, Ryan, as we come on up to the final corner before we go green?
Well, I think looking at the lap times in qualifying, I think up at the front as well, I think predicting a winner is going to be difficult, but I think I have to say it's so difficult to look past him, but I think Tim Delisle, my money's on him to take this race. But also don't rule out his teammate Greg Olsen.
It's going to be a long 35 laps. These guys have a long way to go yet. Just now entering the Parabolica, it will be in the hands of Tim Delisle. These drivers will be hitting speeds of up to 336, maybe even 340 kilometers an hour once they get up to speed. But now the pace car pulls off. Tim Delisle jumps the start, checks up the field. Oh my goodness me, this will be terrible. Delisle's already crashed. They're wrecking before they take the green flag as Tim Delisle jumped the restart.
What was that all about?
He jumped the start, the pace car never pulled off, and well, now that caused almost everybody to catch on up. Omar Baja slings it off at the chicane. He's up to second, ducking his way now through the runoff as everybody else files their way through turn number 1. Not the way we wanted this race to start off. Shades of the Nürburgring in that race. Omar Baja sends one of the styrofoam barriers flying turn 1 runoff.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe that, but that was crazy. But Tim Delisle, it looked like he tried to get a jump on everyone, try and catch him out, but the safety car wasn't off the track before he went, so it caused I don't know what to say, Roland.
He thought it would be off the track. He sorely misjudged that race start. Because look here, he thinks that pace car is going to pull off, and if he passes that pace car before it's on pit road, he gets penalized and he just gets run over because the entire field thinks he's going, and they just don't have enough time to slow down behind him.
I have to say that was a crazy start. I've seen a race on Friday night prime time this season, and I have to say I think we should submit that clip to the iRacing highlights, or not top 10 highlights, I should say.
It'd be a perfect candidate for the not top 10 highlights. In fact, definitely not Tim Delisle's shining moment. This is going to be 2 weeks in a row that he has knocked out in the early stages. Lap number 2, though, and we are still running very much green. Of course, no cautions here in this one. Otherwise, that most certainly would have been a full course yellow. Manuel Domingo looks like he's trying to run down Tomas Simon for that second position. He, in turn, is trying to run down Greg Olsen, who has taken the lead at the front of this race. As a result of that serious miscalculation on Delisle's part, the top 3, nice and close.
Yep, and the person that benefited from that mayhem at the start as well, Tim Delisle, he was caught up, but his teammate Greg Olsen benefited from third in the grid and is now in the lead of the race so far, as we're on lap 2 heading through the 2 Lesmos. And great, I'm still gobsmacked.
Oh! Dennis Scholling just got punted hard to the barrier at the second Lesmo, out of 5th place. He was battling with Philip Schiff in the midst of that one, in that fight for the last part of the top 5. He got sent into the tire barriers. He's likely got some major suspension damage on that machine.
Yeah, as we're just about to look at the RaceSpot replay now, and heading up to the 2 Lesmos now, but it looks fairly clean in the first Lesmo, and then heading down to the second one, it looks like he might have just got punted from behind. Oh yeah, contact. That was dreadful.
It was Philip Schiff that ended up making contact with him. Definitely not at all what Scholling wanted to have happen. So another battle comes to a very premature end. The fight for the lead, though, still nice and tight. Tomas Simon has closed up to Greg Olsen. He's managed to almost break the draft from Manuel Domingo as well. So we could potentially see a dive here into the second chicane if he is brave enough. It'll be soft versus the mediums. Does Simon go for it? He takes a bit of a look, but decides he's going to be nice and safe and keep this one in line for the time being.
Yeah, Thomas Simon is a name I recognise from the Lotus 79 series, and he's been really quick in that, and this car as well at the moment, he's fairly quick as well. So Thomas Simon seems to be one of those drivers that he can just jump into anything and be on the pace straight away in second place, and absolutely putting the pressure on Greg Olsen at the moment. But waiting in the wings is Manuel Domingo. As the top 3 have pretty much pulled away from 4th place, Jacob Oberslack.
Out of Ascari, it's going to be a massive run down towards the Parabolica. Will Greg Olsen go defensive, or will he stay on the offense? He might actually let him have it here, because he could then get the draft all the way down the front straightaway. Does elect, though, to not let him have this position, and understandably so. He wants to lead that another lap. And Olsen is coming into pit road. What is Greg Olsen doing? Actually, did he leave his qualifying setup on with his qualifying fuel still in it?
Yeah, someone else is in behind him as well. It looks like, I'm just having a look to see what that is. That looks like, yeah, Greg Olsen's in, and yeah, that's a bit weird, they're pitting already.
Just 3 laps in, and already pit stops underway for some of the cars at the top end of the field. Jacob Uberslack from 7th is the one that came down as well. Looks like it was refueling for Greg Olsen. Left the qualifying setup in, which has less fuel in it.
Oh, that's I don't know how to describe that, Nolan, but that's a bit of a facepalm moment, if you like.
Just ahead of him, Ruben Denker just cut the chicane because he overshot the corner by a big margin, went over the anti-cut curbs at the same time. So Greg Olsen has got quite a bit of work to do now. He is all the way down in 11th at the moment, so he has a long way to go if he wants to work his way back up through the field. Let's look up, though, to the second Lesmo here. I believe this is the battle for, I believe, 9th or so, or 8th, excuse me. That is Ruben Denker trying to run down Pablo Suarez, who in return is trying to run down, goodness gracious. This is one of those races where, I mean, what else do you expect from it?
Yeah, it's one of those weird races that it's probably the weirdest races I've commentated on, to be honest. But hey, the person who's benefiting from all the other people having issues up at the front is Thomas Simon at the moment, and he's in the lead by about 0.7 of a second.
Indeed he is. Aaron Roos, though, could have a charge here at Cal Young. Will he make the move into turn one? It would not surprise if he did, closing all the way up to the rear wing. Elects to stay in behind, though. Aaron Roos not wanting to battle early here. He is really wanting to play this one safe. You see all the attrition taking place at the early runs. Doesn't want to go for the position. That's a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, I think he's realising it's a long race. Yeah, it's 35 laps, but it's still a long race, especially with his car. And I think he's just thinking about the long game, just thinking about he's still got to make a pit stop, and just let the race pan out. But at the moment, Aaron's having a good race, and P8 at the moment after starting 19th on the grid.
It's been a great round for Aaron Roos, and no doubt that was helped by a lot of the early race attritions, especially right at the race start. So we'll have to see here if Aaron Roos can start to close up to Cal Young, because at the moment he has really dropped back by some considerable margin. Let's take a look up at the front, though, because the battle for first is once again closing in. Now that Simone does not have a dance partner to work with in the draft, Manuel Domingo has been able to slowly start reeling them in. That gap is down to about half a second now as we dive into turn number one once more.
Yep, and Thomas Simone, I wonder if he'll go defensive if Manuel gets a run. I think looking at Thomas as well, he's on the soft tyres, unlike Manuel, who's on the medium tyres. So maybe Thomas's tyres are starting to go off already, or maybe just backing off the pace a little bit to try and look after those soft tyres. But at the moment, it looks like someone's off there.
That is Jacob Oberslag, one of the drivers that just came down one lap prior. He appears to have gone off at the second chicane, and I think he just overcooked it and just kind of went into the tire barriers a little bit. Might have had contact, actually, because there was another car that was right with him, too, I believe just ahead of him. He was actually battling with Omar Baja, and they both went off at the same place. So let's take a look at the race spot replay, and we'll show you what just happened in that second chicane.
Yeah, so the exit of turn one and turn two, it looks all fine, but it seems on the run up to the second chicane now, the Dallara chicane, and it looks fine at the moment. But I think under braking it could be. He just loses it a little bit and nudges the wall.
So Baja do the exact same thing, target fixation on Baja's part. Just saw his opponent make a mistake, and since he was so focused on him, well, he followed suit shortly after. On board with Jacob Oberslag, you just see that just was carrying way too much speed to the first part. Could not slow it down in time. The second part just went skating off into the sand and thus into the tires as well.
Yep, as it's still Thomas Simone leading at the moment now, but the gap is down to about 0.4 of a second, and Manuel Domingo, he just watching the body language, he's not over driving or being aggressive. I think he's just more than happy to sit behind at the moment, and realising he's still got the pit stop, and he could use that pit stop to try and jump someone, maybe try and do an undercut.
Not to mention, he is on the medium tires, whereas Tomas Simone is on the softs, so he might just be waiting for Simone's tires to run out faster so he could kind of pounce in the later stages of this run. It's a 35-lap race, so there is still some time to go before that first pit stop should take place for Manuel Domingo, at least. No doubt Simone will be coming in much, much sooner. For now, though, Domingo is definitely making sure to at least keep him honest and sit in that draft just so we can try to make sure that he really hangs on and doesn't give up trying to maybe go for that position. Because at this point in time, Simone's got to know that if he makes a mistake, Domingo is going to be all over him.
And also, as well, these guys, Simone and Domingo, they've got about a 12-second gap behind them, so they can afford to just kind of not take it easy, but just not battle straight away.
Sometimes this is what you got to do. You really got to have patience here. Now, why don't we take a look back at the battle for 7th place right now? I believe this is Aaron Roos that we are currently watching as he's trying to have a really good run here down to the turn number one. He's trying to fend off Pablo Suarez, who makes a big look for the inside of the turn one, but not close enough to go for the move. Potentially could have something for him, though, into the second chicane here, assuming he can get back up to him, but I think he just ran over the anti-cut curves, the sausage curves there a little bit, and that is what cost him quite a little bit of time here in that run up to turn two.
as I head down to the Dallara chicane now, and Aaron Roofs at the moment, he's got a mirrors full of Pablo Suarez, and also in the background you've got Greg Olson. They're covering for Greg Olson, closing on these guys, so Greg Olson's not messing around.
Not messing around indeed. Olsen trying to go for the look here, down into Ascari. They're going to be side by side. It's a huge ask to pass here into this corner here, but will he manage to make it work? Holy goodness me, I think he just barely managed to make that one work on Pablo Suarez. Suarez decided to back up and let him have that position. Decided it was probably not best to fight here. He's now catching Aaron Roofs, and will Aaron Roofs allow him to have the position? Those soft tires are starting to fall off on the 18 machine. Greg Olson is on the medium, so he's closing him on in. He's definitely going to have that overtake done and clean probably by the time they finish getting off with the grid here.
Yeah, Greg Olson just got a massive on Aaron Roofs as they come across the start-finish line and down the home straight. We're heading down to turn 1 and turn 2 as it looks like Olson's got the position, and yep, Greg Olson has managed to take that, and as Aaron Roofs gets a bit set sideways on the exit of turn 2.
A little bit twitchy there, but managed to keep it together. That is the very important thing. So this battle for 7th still really shaping up. Now Aaron Roofs is trying to fend off Pablo Suarez, who is just half a second behind, and has a chance here, Suarez does, to maybe get around Roofs, because look at how slow Roofs is. Really checks him up at the exit of turn, or on the exit of the second chicane, trying to have the look into the first Lesbo, but not close enough to get it done. Both cars run all the way onto the AstroTurf, a very risky place to be if you want to find your car ending up in a tire barrier extremely quickly.
Yep, and Aaron Roofs is still under pressure from Suarez as they head down to Variante Ascari, down to the turn 8, turn 9, turn 10 section. And this backstreet, I think Suarez might be his best opportunity, or he might wait until the home straight.
I think he's going to have to wait here until the home straight, because he knows that if he passes him here, he is going to be able to just pass him right back down the front straightaway. So Roofs is going to go through the Parabolica, and Suarez is just behind. Now the question is, will Suarez be able to close up enough that he can make this pass work down the front straightaway into turn number 1? Don't think he is going to be close enough, but he is definitely reeling him in. The gap is just half a second, counted down to 4/10. Closing right up to the back end, but still not close enough to go for the move.
Yeah, I think Suarez seems to be the quicker driver at the moment, but he just can't get by Roofs, because Roofs is doing a great defensive job as they head down to the second chicane, but Suarez is not close enough.
Oh, but Roofs overcooks the corner, and that allows an opening, and Pablo Suarez sweeps right on through to take the position down into the first Lesbo, and nothing Aaron Roofs can do about it. Roofs is trying to hang on. He's trying to fight that outside line here around the outside of the second Lesbo. Can he get that one done? It's now going to be a drag race all the way up to that second chicane. This could get very close here. Here Suarez goes again, now looking for the inside into Ascari. Will Roofs go side by side? Suarez backs out first in the game of chicken, and Roofs somehow holds on to the position.
Yeah, I thought Suarez had that move done, in all honesty, but credit to Roofs, he managed to hold it on the outside into the second Lesmo, and they had enough momentum to hold the position, but as Suarez runs wide in the final corner, and they loses a little bit of momentum and loses a bit of touch to Roofs.
An absolutely thrilling race so far. We only have like 12 cars running right now, but goodness gracious, they are doing a great job at putting on a show for us nonetheless. Monza is one of those tracks where it doesn't matter, how far apart you are. You can always find a good race here. Somewhere in the field, it's going to happen. Goodness gracious, that was all too close to call, though. I don't think I've ever seen a car like this manage to hold on to the outside of position around the outside of one of the Lesbos, especially the first one. That was impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron Roofs he wasn't prepared to give that position up, but Suarez is close again into the two Lesmos, or into the first Lesmo rather, as they head down to the second one. And Roofs is, I think this is his best race of the season so far, and having a good run. The Midwest driver is right on board from the rear of the car, looking back at Suarez.
Pablo Suarez has got to find a way past Roofs quickly here, because they are slowly losing time here to Ruben Denker. Both drivers are about 3 seconds a lap slower than Ruben Denker is. So Denker is catching them at an extremely rapid pace here. So S'mores has got to find a way through here and quick because he is losing more and more time back to 10th place. Who, by the way, has damage on his car as well. So that just shows how much time you lose when you're side by side with someone here.
As it looks like Greg Olsen has made a move for P6 into the turn 1 and turn 2 chicane. And Greg Olsen, I think he's probably fired up after that little mistake from him having to cut to get fuel and forgetting to load his race setup because they looked at the race spot replay.
Was down at the turn number 1. He made the pass on Cal Young. There you see Cal Young did let off early and let Greg Olsen have the spot into turn number 1. Elected maybe wasn't the best idea to fight just yet. Just ahead of them as well, Anthony Cat for 5th had to bail across the chicane as well. So he is just barely managing to hang on to that 6th position as well. So Anthony Cat starting to struggle a little bit more on those soft tires. These guys are about 12, 13 laps in now on those tires now. We got about 23 laps remaining.
There's Anthony Katz heading onto the back straight now on the exit of the Variante Ascari. And yeah, Anthony's having a bit of a quiet race. He's got in the background there, it looks like Cal Young for company.
Does have Cal Young for company as well. Still trying to keep an eye on this battle for the lead as well. It's gotten close a couple of times. There was a moment where Memo Domingo was almost close enough to touch Tomas Zabo, but he has just not been able to properly find a way through. The dirty air has just been hurting him so much, especially through the Lesbos and Ascari. He is at the point in the draft where it actually hurts you. It does not help you improve. So he's just barely clinging on to the tail end of that draft. Needs to be within that 1 second so he can, really take advantage of it. He's got to make the most of it through the Parabolica, because if he gets a better run through the Parabolica than Simone, it will be enough to help him up there. But right now, he's just struggling so much. But did he get a better run through Ascari that time by?
He did, and he's getting a lot closer heading into the final corner now. And Thomas Simone, I think he's just doing what he needs to do, just maintain that gap as Domingo runs slightly wide onto that green AstroTurf stuff. As they head across the line now, and it looks like Domingo's getting a lot closer on a straight line now, down to half a second.
They're just joining us here, then welcome to the Dallara Formula IR Series for round number 9 here at Monza. Currently watching the battle for the lead. Domingo closes right up to the back end of Tomas Zabo, but is not close enough to go for the move just yet. Domingo is doing everything he can here. I don't believe Domingo has ever really gotten a win before. He's gotten a couple podiums, I believe, but never been able to pull out a win. So this would be huge for Domingo. He would be able to take that car through to victory lane.
And Domingo is just into that first chicane now. He's just so good on the brakes. He's managed to close the gap down on Simone. As Greg Olsen's making a move into the first chicane, and it looks like he's gained another position up into 5th place by the looks of it.
That was Anthony Cat that just passed. Had to make that move, though, around the outside into turn number 1. So managed to pull that move off nicely as Anthony Cat went defensive, and Olsen decisively went for the 5th place shot. Managed to get a good positioning on him as well, which helped him to pull off that move perfectly. And Anthony Cat did have a hand in that as well. He did kind of lift off a bit and, let him have the position as well, as he realized there was no way he was going to be able to hang on to him for very long.
And Greg Olsen is just so much quicker as well, so I think Anthony just realised there's no point, like you say, there's no point fighting someone that's quicker than him. He's right on board with 2nd place Manuel Domingo heading into the turn 1 and turn 2 chicane, and again he just closes right up under braking on Simone. He seems to be so much better on the brakes, and it just seems to be more confidence in Simone. I think his soft tyres are just starting to fall off a little bit.
Continuing to watch this battle for the race lead. Seniors Domingo really closes in, but just is not able to get the position. He's just having such a hard time at staying close, and I think that's what's really hurting him here. Meanwhile, Aaron Roos has just lost another spot for the 10th position. He's lost 2 in the 1 lap. Overshot turn 1, lost a spot there to 9th. Radek Sikora, who did not qualify, started at the very tail end of the field, just passed him. So now Sikora's been in the most positions out of anybody today, up 12 from where he started.
Yeah, Sikora having a great run after starting 21st and pretty much at the back of the grid. And other people had issues at the front on the start, but he's kept out of trouble and he's managed to get into the top 10. So yeah, Radek doing a great job at the moment.
We could could see that move here, though. We've been waiting into turn number 1. Domingo might be close enough. Down the front straightaway, he's got such a massive head of steam. Over 340 kilometers an hour of 900 horsepower. Drag racing it out. Down to the turn number 1. Neither driver is wanting to give, but finally Manuel Domingo gets the move done for the race lead, and there is nothing that Simone can do about it. Might be able to have a run at them here into the second chicane, though, if he can get the power down right.
It is the head down to the Dallara chicane now, turn 4 and 5, and it would be interesting to see if Simone can stay with Domingo, but I think Domingo at the moment in time in the race, I think he's just a quicker driver.
That is no doubt because of the medium tires. Let's take a look at the replay of the pass that we just witnessed for the race lead into turn number 1. Because goodness me, this was a perfectly executed pass from Manuel Domingo. Got the slipstream right down, immediately made the look at the right time. Drag raced it all the way out, right down into the braking zone for turn number 1. Got the pass done. Nothing that Simone could do about it. He really was a sitting duck. Battle's on for 8th as well, should know.
Yeah, the battle going on for 8th place at the moment between Radek Sikora, Pablo Suarez, and Aaron Roofs in the background, still staying with these guys. So even though he lost a couple of positions, he's staying with these two guys in front of him. And yeah, a good battle going on for the lower positions in the top 10.
Radek Sikora had just made up the 8th position as well. I believe just last time by in the run towards the Parabolico had a much better run through the Ascari chicane. It has been a great run for Sikora, who despite not being able to qualify after missing the Q session, not having enough time to get a full lap, he's worked his way up into the top 10 now, up into the 8th position. Aaron Roofs is still dropping back on the soft tires. I would not be surprised if we saw him pitting soon enough here in that number 18 car, or maybe come down for a fresh set of mediums, try to get the undercut of these guys. But that's where a lot of these battles are kind of headed now. They're headed to the point where they're not going to be one at the track. They might be one, though, for pit strategy. Yeah,
regarding pit strategy as well, I think especially these guys at the lower positions in the top 10, I'm wondering if they'll maybe try and go for a long run, just try and stretch out as long as possible, and then maybe try and gain track position, or maybe pit early and try and gain track position. But at the moment, I think don't be surprised if you see the two leaders at the front, Domingo and Simone, that go as long as possible, as it looks like Simone is starting to lose touch with Domingo.
Started to lose touch indeed. Ruben Denker in 13th. He started to reel in Adam Cohn as well. It's important to know in the battle for 12th on the track. The battles are heated up everywhere. 2 leaders are coming in, so the pit stops are now underway. Tomas Simone and Manuel Domingo come down to pit road. The lap cars had started to come back about 1 or 2 laps ago. Some guys as far as 8 laps back, but we have 2 folks on the battles that we haven't really noticed. So now the 2 leaders come into pit road.
Yep, and I wonder if Simone will maybe try and go for the medium tyres this time, as actually I think he's going to go for another set of softs, and Domingo's going for another set of mediums.
So soft to soft and medium to medium, and look at this! Simone just barely manages to beat Domingo out. He's retaken the race lead in the pit stops, and he's on the better compound in the short run. They're now going to be right next to Greg Olsen, who is trying to just hang on to the race lead. I believe Olsen is now, he's up in the 3rd place now. Simone almost gets cut off by him. This is going to be a fierce fight, though. This is for the net race lead at the moment. Domingo's right on the tail end of the draft, and he could have a run here into that second chicane. Doesn't make the look at a cover run. He is going to go for the dive bomb into the second chicane. So close to call. Little lockup from Simone, but Domingo retakes the lead.
And also Greg Olsen still needs to take a pit stop, so I have to, and I had to take a deep breath there, because I thought Domingo was going to fly into Greg Olsen.
That was just about as close as it could possibly be. Now, Manuel Domingo still has to get around Greg Olsen, and Greg Olsen is still yet to come down to pit road. He's about 14 laps now on those tires. He's got to come down here soon. Remember, I believe Greg Olsen was one of those drivers that forgot to take fuel out before the start of the race, so he had to make a very early pit stop at the end of lap number 3, I believe it was. Domingo runs a bit wide, though, through the Parabolica onto the exit of the corner. Olsen comes down to pit road. There's nothing now stopping Simone from reeling back in Manuel Domingo with the draft and on the better tire compound on the short run.
Yep, and this battle was pretty much for the race lead, but we're still waiting for the other guys in front of them to make a pit stop. That was so close. But the two guys in front of these guys as well is Steve Horan and Rashad Craig, so they've still got to pit. But I'm looking forward to this battle for the race one between Domingo and Simone, because these guys look to be evenly matched on pace.
Rashad Craig came down to pit last time by. We're just waiting now on Steve Honan to make his pit stop as well. At the moment, though, it looks like Simone is already started to fade back from the race lead. The gap is up to about 0.7 of a second right now, and that is not what he needs. He needs that to be under half a second for that draft to really come into play. He's trying everything here down these straightos, but he has to get the better run here through Ascari.
He does, as they're heading through there now, and it looks like Domingo's got the better run through Ascari, but Simone has got a great run as well, and slowly closing that gap down the back straight as we head down to the final corner again.
Into the parabolica. Simone misses the apex. They both run onto the AstroTurf. Just half a second separate the two net race leaders. Steve Honan is now in pit road. This is now the effective battle for the race lead. This is about to get interesting. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing some fireworks fly from these two guys, because neither one of them wants to give in.
Yeah, these guys are just absolutely going at it, hammer and tong, and then Domingo's leading at the moment. I was expecting him to pull away after getting in the lead, but at the moment, Simone's doing a great job keeping in touch with him. But I think those soft tires, as they start to wear off, I think Domingo might just be able to pull away slightly, but Simone closing the gap down under braking.
Well, the thing is before the pit stops, Domingo had Greg Olsen to help him pull away with help of the draft. Now that Olsen's gone, though, there's nothing to prevent Simone from reeling in Domingo. And at the moment, Domingo, in drafting terms, really is a sitting duck. There's nothing he's going to be able to do to stop Simone from really reeling in that draft. So that 3 car is on a tear right now, and he is definitely going to be trying to do whatever he can to reel in that number 2 car.
Yep, he is, and yeah, I just spotted on Domingo's car as well, he's got a race spot sticker, so yeah, that might give him a few extra miles per hour on a straight line.
I think the rule is 15 extra horsepower per sticker you have on that machine. He's got about 4 of them, so that's what, 20? No, that's about what, 50, 60 extra horsepower he's got this. So that should be helping him here down these straightaways. But you never know, if that goes to the rear wheels, he's going to be in a world of trouble. You never know, those race spot stickers might become a curse for him here in a minute.
Is it down to the turn 1 and turn 2 chicane again? And Domingo, he's not panicking, he's not overdriving, he's not doing anything silly. He's just hitting his marks and just doing what he needs to do and defending fairly. But Simone's closing up slowly in a slipstream as they head down to the second chicane, but just not close enough to make a move.
14.5 laps remaining. Domingo has got so much time yet to hold off Tomas Simone. I think we're going to see these guys starting to switch back and forth for the lead, because neither driver here is going to be able to break away from the other unless the other one makes a serious mistake in one of these corners, or at least several smaller mistakes in a row. I mean, Simone is sticking right with him. The gap is under 0.4 of a second now, make it down to 3 on the entry to Ascari. But right there, Simone misses the apex for the first bunching. Oh, and nearly loses the back end. And that is enough to break the draft. Over a second suddenly separate Domingo. Very costly mistake there for the number 1.
Yeah, Simone's just absolutely giving it everything, and he absolutely threw the car through Ascari, and he almost lost the car. He just got sideways, and yeah, he just lost touch with Domingo, and I think Domingo is over a second now, 1.2 seconds, so he's just out of draft range, and it might just be the deciding factor in this race.
1.3 seconds. It's really fluctuating right now between 1.2 and 1.5 seconds, depending on where they are in the trap. And about 1.3 is kind of the average gap here, all the way down that front straightaway and through the first chicane. That was a mistake that Tomas Simone did not need to happen, but that is a blessing there for Manuel Domingo. So the race spot stickers seem to have come into full play here. Good grief, that was something that Simone is going to be kicking himself over.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to do, especially when you're pushing so hard, but further back in the pack, we've still got this battle for 6th place going on between Anthony Cal Young, Omar, I was about to say Omar Baha, but basically the battle for 6 is between Cat and Young.
It's between Cat. Oh, look at this! Anthony Cat runs into the sand, and that will allow Cal Young to go through. It also allows Jager Uberslack through, but Uberslack is a lap down, so he lets off and allows Anthony Cat to keep that position to try to get the draft back on Cal Young.
Yeah, I was just unlucky. It's an easy thing to do in that chicane. The right on board with Callion now heading down to turn 1 and turn 2. And it's just on the exit as well, when you try and get on the power, you just want to try and get on the power early, but Callion runs on a little bit wide. But Anthony Cat, I think he was too busy looking in his mirrors.
Carried too much speed for the first part. That's what happened there for Anthony Cat, and well, it sent him way off into the sand. I mean, that's the hazard here. You really have to be slow into these corners. A lot of people say the philosophy, especially when it comes to open wheel and GT racing, is slow in, fast out. These chicanes at Monza prove that perfectly. If you go in fast to the first part, you're going to be so much slower coming out for the second. You got to make sure that you can do the best you can here to go in slow for that first part so you can go out nice in the second. Anthony Cat, though, like our battle for the lead, still has the draft and is able to just start to reel him in little by little, 10th by 10th, 0.3 of a second down the front straightaway. Will Cal Young fall victim here to the same mistake?
He's got a good exit on the exit of turn 1 and turn 2, and yeah, Anthony Cat's still close to him, but Anthony Cat, I was expecting him to fall further back, but he's managed to get regroup and close the gap back down to Callion, and at the moment Callion's doing a good defensive job as they head down to the Dallara chicane.
This is going to be certainly one battle to keep our eyes out for. I mean, Anthony Cat, he's got to try to find a way up there and quick. Right now, this is just about the only battle we've got on the track. Everybody else is kind of running in their own separate groups. What can the 11 do? Got to try to find a way around that number 9. If you're Anthony Cat, what do you start thinking about? Because, I mean, you got to start thinking of a way to get by him, but you just... Oh, whoa! Way onto the grass goes Anthony Cat and nearly loses that back end again.
Yeah, he was so close to it. I was so close to ending up in disaster for Anthony Cat. He's absolutely pushing. But I think if you're Anthony Cat, as you're just about to call it, it's Thomas Simon just avoids the back marker in the two Lesmos. But looking at this battle, as they come across the line now, I think if you're Anthony Cat and you get a run, you've got to go for it.
The battle for third place is on as well in the meantime. They're also really close, just about within a half a second of each other. So it's really kind of at the same gap here between these two drivers. Omar Baja has just made another pit stop. We'll keep our eyes here on these battles we got on the racetrack, though. So we really got two battles here. You got the one for third and fourth between Steve Honan and Rashad Craig, and you got the one for sixth and seventh between Callion and Anthony Cat. And at the moment, Rashad Craig is starting to reel in Steve Honan, but this battle here for 6 is still the closest one we got. Both battles kind of fluctuating out. We'll kind of see which one here is the closest, but at the moment, it's still the one for 6th.
Yeah, there's a head through into the exit of the two Lesmos, and Callion, he's under huge pressure for Anthony Cat now. Cat's got the run. Will he go for a move into Ascari? I don't think he will, but I think he might. If he gets a great run in the exit of Ascari, he might try and make a move. Is it on the exit now? And Anthony Cat just giving it everything and pushing the boundaries.
He's got to be careful though, because every time it clips that grass, it does give him that off-track 1X. And I believe if you rack up about 17 of those, I believe, it will kick you out of the race. Sorry, 17 and you get a penalty, you're disqualified after 25. So he does have some room to work with here. But he's just got to be careful here that he doesn't clip it too many times and put himself at risk if something major should happen.
Yep, as they head down to turn 1 and 2 now, and Callion, I was expecting him to crack under the pressure, but fair play to him, he's doing a good job. And Anthony Cat, he's not really close this time around as they head down to the Dallara chicane. And I think Anthony Cat's best opportunity, he seems to get a great run, or great exit on the second Lesmo, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get a run heading down to Ascari.
The strengths for a lot of these drivers here today is, of course, the straightaways and obviously the chicanes. Because that is what the car is set up for. You got to make sure that the car is set up to have as little downforce as you're possibly comfortable with, because if you have a car that's set up for the fast corners, you are going to lose this race, because you need to have a car that's set up for the top end. But that means, in turn, you have to sacrifice a lot of potential in some of the chicanes like Ascari. It's a very fine balance that you have to try to work with.
It is, and as I head down to Parabolica now, and I think Cat's getting really close now, and if he can get a great run, I think he could be he could get a run down the home straight and get close to that slipstream, but as they come across the line now, Anthony Cat, he's getting closer, but he's not close enough.
Just back under half a second at the moment. Still trying to find a way up there. At this point in time, Anthony Cat might have to wait for Cal Young to make a mistake here, or he's got to find something else in that car because he's just not able to close on up. It's just so difficult for you to really make up ground here because as soon as you get close, if you're not close enough to make a move into one of these chicanes, you end up losing a lot of that time on the exit as your opponent just roars away.
Yeah, exactly. As they head down to the first Lesmo now, and Anthony Cat again, he's closer this time around, and he's getting closer as they head down to the second Lesmo. And if Cat can get a great exit on the second Lesmo, I think he could get close, but no, he's not close enough still. I think Cal Young is just getting a good exit on most of these corners.
The dirty air also plagues a lot of these drivers through a lot of these very, very fast corners. And that, again, is because the cars are not really set up to be able to handle that. Anthony Cat, once again, runs wide and just barely clips the grass the right side of the racetrack. The gap is really kind of hanging around half a second on average here. And to Cat, that is likely not going to be nearly enough. He's got to find a way to get closer. The battle for third is heating up, though, and Rashad Craig is trying to go for a move here into that second chicane. Does get the pass done, and that promotes Rashad Craig up onto the podium as Steve Honan is forced to slot in line to the fourth position. These two guys have been getting really close over the past couple laps. This is the first time, though, that Craig is elected to go for a move.
Yep, absolutely. And I think in the background too is that it looks like I thought that was Greg Olson. That was a lap car. I thought it was Greg Olson, but it's a lap car. So the battle. Oh, that was close to being disaster.
That is one of those moments where you put yourself in a position where either one of you is going to make it or both of you are going to wreck. And Rashad Craig elected to yield. But he could have a great run here off of the Parabolica if Steve Honan is able to just barely stay within the draft here. But it's such a fine line for Rashad Craig. I don't think he's going to be able to get the move done here to the turn one chicane whatsoever. And as this has been going on, again, the gap between 6th and 7th has closed. It's down to 4/10 now. Was down to a quarter of a second a little while ago. We're going to take a look here at the replay, I believe, of what happened to cause these two cars to switch positions here into Ascari.
Yep, and yeah, I'm amazed that both of those guys never had any contact. But yeah, they gave each other just enough room. But I'm still watching the battle for 6th and 7th, and Anthony Cat is right on the back of Cal Young now. And I think it's just a matter of time before Cat makes a move. And I think his best opportunity is this run up to the Dallara chicane.
We're once again caught at the cross, at a bit of a crossing here, where you got these two fantastic battles that are shaping up, and we just don't know which one to pay attention to because they're both, growing and shrinking with every passing lap. It just becomes such a difficult to try to look for which one we should look at next. But I do think 6th and 7th is now the way to go because Honan has started to pull away from Rashad Craig in the faster second half of the lap. So we will keep our eyes on you for Cal Young and Anthony Cat. But should that battle for third heat up again, you can bet we're going to be right on top of it.
Yep, as they head down to Ascari now, and Cal Young just pulls out a little bit of a gap. And I think this is the part of the circuit where Cat was getting a great exit, but he's getting closer now, heading down to the final corner. But I think if he can nail the entry and nail the exit, I think Cat could possibly make the move down the home straight. But again, Cal Young just doing the right things and getting a great exit just to try and stretch that gap out a little bit.
It's such a close gap between the two of these guys. I mean, it's at the point now where you got to think somebody has got to yield here soon, but the question is, who is it? Because neither driver is going to want to give this up. I mean, both drivers want to, go for these positions. Nobody at this point is going to back down. It is crunch time in the race. You have to make the move if you see a door open, because if you see a door open, it might not open for you again.
Yeah, that's good. Absolutely true. And as they head the battle for third place heading through Ascari again, and Steve Honan is doing a great job keeping that third place at the moment. But Rashad Craig, he's just getting close. He gets close enough, or anytime he gets close, especially across across the home straight. He just can't get the move done, or get a chance to get a run.
Might have a big drafting help here down that front straightaway, but it will not be enough to make the look into turn 1. Potentially for the second chicane, though. He's got to get a good exit here, though, in this first chicane. Both drivers hard on the brakes for that first chicane for the 30th time today, and it looks like Craig did get a pretty good launch off that first chicane. It, again, won't be close for the second chicane, but he is slowly starting to reel him in again.
Yeah, it's getting closer now as they head up to the Dallara chicane, and can Craig try and get close and make a move? He's close, but he's not close enough, and I don't think he's willing to throw it up the inside and make a lunge at this moment in time. But as they head up to the first of the two Lesmos now, and I think Craig is losing touch a little bit through the two Lesmos, and I don't think he's going to be close enough on the exit.
Potentially in the run down to the Parabolica, because obviously, as we've seen, passing into Ascari is a huge ask, and not something that is really recommended by anybody in the racing world unless you are feeling extremely desperate or extremely bold. One driver has come down. That is Adam Cohn coming in for a very late pit stop.
Yeah, that's a really late, unless he's just decided to try and go as long as possible and just basically just stop until as late as possible. But again, looking at this battle for 6th place heading through Ascari, and Anthony Cat, it's one of those situations now that he gets close, but it seems to be on the exit, he just loses touch a little bit with Carl Young.
Indeed he does. So we're taking a look at this battle for the 6th and 7th positions. I'm still keeping eyes on the battle for 3rd in case that starts picking up again. Goodness me, Anthony Cat is starting to really reel him in. Again, we're at that crossroads. Which one do we look at? They're both shrinking at the same time. We just can't, it's going to be a real issue here, though, if Anthony Cat ends up getting into the back of Cal Young, because that's the one that you don't want to do, is have a battle end that way. But he's got to make these moves now, because he might not have another chance to make them later in the race. I mean, we're only 4.5 laps to go at this point.
Yeah, and as I head down to the Dale Rogers chicane now, and still this battle is really close, and Cal Young, to be honest, I thought he would have cracked under the pressure, but he's not letting it get to him at the moment. He's head through the first Lesmo, and Anthony Cat, even if he finishes in 7th, it's still a decent result for him, and considering where he started on the grid in 17th, so he's gained 10 positions at the moment.
The driver that has gained the most, though, is Radek Sikora still. That driver who, again, missed qualifying, has been doing a phenomenal job at working his way up through the field this entire race. He's currently sitting in 9th, will not be close enough to get through Denker unless he makes a massive mistake, but you know, still, a 9th place after missing qualifying and almost missing the start as well is certainly nothing to be ashamed of. Anthony Cat still trying to reel in Cal Young to try to go for the position. Rashad Craig still trying to reel in Steve Honan. Both battles still extremely tight. It really is still anybody's battle. As I say that, Rashad Craig just sacrificed a lot of time in the second chicane as he kind of took it just a little bit too wide. So that battle is going to be all but over. We're left with the battle for 6th.
Yep, and Anthony Cat is basically closer than he has been before, as he's heading up to the Del Rogers chicane. And yeah, Anthony Cat, I think he might just be planning what he's going to do, and maybe trying to figure out where the best place to get a run and make a move is. But at the moment, he's a lot closer than he has been before.
I think this is the first race where we've gone through the whole thing without having to mention, the schedule or anything like that, and that is because we have not had a break to talk about anything like that. There's always been something happening on the track here, and right now, all eyes are on Cal Young and Anthony Cat to see which driver will come out on top in the first spot outside of the top 5. Cal Young has been doing a phenomenal job at holding off Cat so far for the entirety of the run, but does he have what it takes to hold him off for the final 3 laps?
Heading up to the final corner now, and it looks like they've got a back marker up ahead of them, so this could play into this battle. Maybe Cal Young can try and get a slipstream, but again, the exit of the final corner, heading up to the home straight now, and Cal Young, Anthony Cat's actually getting closer and closer now in the slipstream, but I don't think he's going to be close enough heading down to turn 1.
Lap traffic is ahead. That is Aaron Roofs in the 18 car that they're about to come on up on. So this could get interesting here. If Aaron Roofs does not move aside, they might catch him at exactly the wrong place here, which would be detrimental for Cal Young because he desperately needs to get past Roofs in a hurry and then pray that Roofs checks up Cat just behind him. Both cars about 0.3 of a second apart into the second chicane. They are going to catch the lap traffic at one of the worst possible points. They're going to catch him in the Lesbos here. Through Lesbo 1 they go, and Roof's still not a problem. It goes to the inside of the racetrack and slows down to let the lead lap traffic through. Good job on Aaron Roofs, who promptly goes into the sand pit just on the exit, nearly wipes out Jacob Rubenslack as well. In fact, I'm pretty sure they just swapped for positions back there, as a matter of fact. Still, though, keeping our eyes, though, on this fight because that compromised both drivers' turns, but it compromised Cat more so than Young, well, because Cat couldn't get to the outside quick enough.
Yep, and that kind of hindered the Cat a little bit as right on board from now, and just looking from behind behind Cal Young's car, and Anthony Cat just misses the turning slightly into the parabolica, and he loses a tenth or two heading across the line now.
2 laps remaining. Does Anthony Cat have what it takes to overtake Cal Young? Both drivers are on worn socks, which are likely screaming for help at this point. Both drivers push it as hard as they possibly can. Neither driver wants to give in. Neither driver will give in. The question is, will it be a case where both drivers will cross the line, either the positions they're in are swapped around, or will we only be seeing one of them cross the line within a second of the other?
And
Domingo has just taken the white flag.
Yep, I was just about to say as well, Domingo has crossed the line to start the final lap now, and he was under pressure from Thomas Simon, who's fallen back slightly to around about 3.7 seconds, but still looking at the battle for 6th position between Cal Young and Anthony Cat. And I think Cal Young, he just needs to not do anything silly, not make any mistakes, and he should be able to hold that position, but still it's not over by any means.
Has such a poor run, though, for Anthony Cat, though, through Ascari. Cal Young was so much better, but Cat still has that one extra lap, about 4.5 kilometers to go to try to get the win done for the battle in the 6th position. But it's a question of will he be close enough, and honestly, I don't think he has enough time. Meanwhile, Manuel Domingo just exits off of the Ascari chicane, just has to pass Ruben Denker now, a lapped car, before victory will be his. He's now coming up to the final corner, your race leader. Manuel Domingo right in behind lap traffic. Denker lets him through, and Manuel Domingo takes it to victory lane. He wins at Monza. It was such a historic track, and definitely a win that he would like to have on his resume. And the Dallara IR1 weaves across the track with joy. The battle for 6th, though, not over yet.
Yeah, the battle for 6th is only on the exit of the second chicane and heading into the first Lesmo. And Anthony Cat just understeered wide slightly, and he's lost touch to Cal Young. So Cal Young at 6th place is going to go to him by the looks of it, but they've still got a bit to go yet.
I think it's over. With that mistake there in the first Lesbo, Anthony Cat has just shot himself in the foot, and he is not going to have any chance here at closing him in unless Cal Young wrecks in this last corner or messes it up so poorly. Anthony Cat just will not be able to close in, but Young has been so smooth throughout the entirety of this race. Through the parabolic, Cal Young aces the apex and does not even run onto the AstroTurf. Cal Young holds off Anthony Cat to finish in the 6th position. What an absolutely thrilling race here. Just waiting now for the final couple cars to come across the line here. And now everybody has crossed the line. Let's take a look at the official post-race results. Manuel Domingo takes it to victory lane. 3.7 seconds back is going to be Tomas Simon, the driver we thought would maybe be up in the front, but after a serious mistake, not so much. 28 seconds back is Steve Honan. Rashad Craig down in the 4th position. Greg Olson sits out in 5th, rounding out the top 5, rounded out the lead lap cars. In their own little battle was Cal Young and Anthony Cat. Ruben Denker sits 8th. Ray Daxakora, the most positions gained this race, in 9th, with Omar Baja rounded out the top 10. From there on back, it is Pablo Suarez with Adam Cohn in 12th, Jager Uberslag in 13th, Aaron Roos in 14th, And now drivers that did not manage to finish the race, they are going to be Philip Schiff, Dennis Scholle, Tomasi, Dylan Freckleton, Tim Delisle, and then Danilo and Marco Sanfilippo to round out the 21 car field today. So many drivers caught out by that first lap crash that saw drivers like Tim Delisle, pole sitter, eliminated early from the race. My goodness, Vito, what an absolutely thrilling ride it has been here in Italy.
Yeah, that was a good race, and I really enjoyed calling that. And we had a great battle for sixth position, and they've also had the battle for the final step on the podium. So, yeah, it was a good race, and it wasn't as chaotic at Monza as I thought it would be. But that start, I'm still trying to get my head around.
It was a very interesting start, wasn't it? I mean, we had, well, let me put it this way, for those that weren't here for it. Tim Delisle attempted to jump the restart. Unfortunately misjudged the pace car going off, and he had to check up to avoid getting penalized for passing the pace car. And it just caused a massive pile-up behind him, with just about everybody having nowhere to go. That is how drivers like Danilo and Marco Sanfilippo, Dylan Freckleton, drivers like those got knocked out very, very early in this race. And it is also how Manuel Domingo managed to come through and take victory today. Because if Tim Delisle was up front, I doubt it would have finished the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think after Tim Delisle had issues, I was expecting Greg Olson to pull away, but unfortunately, by the looks of it, he forgot to load his race setup, and they had to pit for fuel to make it to the finish. So it was a bit of an error, a comedy list of errors, you could say.
Out of all the finish that Tim Delisle wanted, then we're taking a look at the race start there. There you can see there's Tim Delisle checking up big time for the field as the field is trying to file back behind him. And you're going to watch here as everybody just steamrolls over that poor number one car. There was the first hit, launching Delisle into the air. That car, I believe that was Marco Sanfilippo, spins it into pit road after clipping the tire barriers. I believe Delisle rolled over as well in that first incident. And yeah, just not pleasant. Jumping the race start, though, I'm pretty sure old Tim might think twice about trying that move again in the future.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit of over-eagerness from Tim. He even admitted himself it was he messed it up, and it's just one of those things. Even real-life drivers make mistakes, and yeah, hopefully Tim can maybe redeem himself at the next round next week, which is, I believe it's Spa.
It is. Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps is the next one up in the week as we continue to watch the absolute carnage unfold at the tail end of the field there. You can actually see Manuel Domingo kind of darted his way through there as well. He was in the fourth position, I believe, after all that was said and done. But yeah, Spa is up next, and the Spa de Francorchamps has got a lot of history behind it as well. Not as much as Monza, I want to say, but a lot of history nonetheless. So that is bound to be an incredibly good race as well. I mean, it's one of those things about, anything can happen at that track. It's got a lot of history. It's so fun to drive as well. We're going to take one more look here at the back of Tomasi, though, for the start of the wreck. This is what it looked like from the very tail end of the field. We saw what it looked from the front. This is what it looks like from the tail end, though. You're just trying to go green here. You see everybody accelerating in front of you, then one puff of smoke, and then it is just absolute carnage. And, I mean, where are you supposed to go? Even he got run over from behind still.
Yep, so basically after that incident from Tim, it's just kind of basically caused a bit of a bottleneck effect, and everyone's had to check up, and there was so many innocent victims in that. It's just, it's just unfortunate, but around here it's an easy thing to do sometimes. Is look at the incident. Oh, that was so close. That was basically like watching a game of pinball.
I would have liked to know what the pace car driver was seeing for all that. All of a sudden, he sees a car pass him on his right side, and then a car spinning the pit road right in front of him. I'm pretty sure good old Larry, the pace car driver, had a bit of a scare there. First time, I think, that the pace car has had a bit of a code round moment.
Yeah, I think Randy, the flagman, would have had a bit of a Code Brown moment as well, watching all the cars flying in the air as well.
Meanwhile, the iRacing officials are probably not too pleased to see that, like, the official iRacing stewards that dole out these incident points so well. Goodness gracious. It's one of those things where it certainly happens. Not often that it happens, but it does happen nonetheless. Kind of reminds me of what happened at the Nürburgring. I remember when I think it was Manuel Domingo that time, actually, speak of the devil, he kind of jumped the restart when the leaders hadn't gone yet, and it caused a massive pileup back there as well. It's almost identical, except this time it was the leaders themselves.
Yeah, Manuel Domingo's had similar issue in the past as well, but he didn't have any issues today because he managed to withstand the pressure from Thomas Simone and hold on to take the win. So Manuel putting in a great drive.
He did put in a very great drive and a very well-deserved win for Domingo at that. Like we said, the race next week is going to be Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Then comes Road America. That is going to be a very, very fun track as well. Autodromo Jose Carlos Pate is going to round out the season at Interlagos. So just 3 races remaining at 3 fantastic venues that really do suit these cars. So sure to be an incredibly entertaining end to the season.
Yep, absolutely. Just looking at the tracks for the end of the season, we've got Spa next week, and then after that we've got Road America, and then Interlagos. So 3 great tracks that all provide great racing, and also with the long straights as well. Some awesome slipstream battles.
And I believe with that and our dreams of what Spa might be, it is going to be time to about round things off here for another round in the Dallara Formula IR Series. It's been an absolute thrill once again. I mean, this is one. I love this race because it reminds me back when we had the race at Suzuka where we had battles going on from start to finish. So I'm certainly glad that we have returned at last to having these entertaining flag-to-flag races. It's been an absolutely thrilling run as we take another look on board the base car here at the carnage that took place behind. There you see, goodness gracious me, it's been a great run here. My name has been Nolan Red Bull. I've been bringing you all the action here from start to finish. I've had Ryan Walker helping me beside me with Connor and Maddock operating the cameras today and giving us this fantastic shot of the race start here today. It's been an absolutely thrilling run. We thank you all for joining us once again, and we will see you all next week.